Dune Imperium is very good, and in spite of the Uprising moniker, to Dune, to Imperium is essentially just a remix of the already very good game, except with some new characters, some new cards, and just a couple new mechanics and a little bit of polish here and there, but otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing, which we already have a review of Dune Imperium on the channel, and for better or worse, the broad strokes of that review still hold true, so you can check that out. But that brings the question, what are we doing here? Well, today we're going to be examining what makes the worm thump a little bit different in Dune Imperium Uprising. So, like the sands of Arrakis, it's time to get granular. On first glance, these games look almost identical. Each player has a faction leader with a passive and activatable ability. You have the exact same starting loadout of 10 cards that you customize throughout the game, which both empower you to send agents to affiliated board spaces or save for a reveal turn to contribute in purchasing or combative power. The board spaces have the same symbols and thematic conceits. You get points through affiliating with the 4 different political powers and winning conflicts at the end of the round that are participated in by deploying troops through a variety of means. The most obvious changes come in terms of worms and spies, the former being a combative noodle recruitable from the desert should you have maker hooks acquired from a specific space, only accessible if you have gained the trust of the Fremen. These tubular terrors count for a whopping 3 combat strength and double the conflict rewards if you win, which can be exceptionally powerful if points are involved. Though they can't be used if conflict is over one of the 3 protected spaces behind the shield wall, which itself can be broken, leaving those sites free to be wormed. I like these worms, particularly the cute little wooden ones, whereas the plastic ones, they are interchangeable, but they feel a little bit extraneous and clash with the overall wooden aesthetic of the rest of the components in the game. And as for the shield wall, well, it feels a little tacked on and unnecessary. I mean, as a Dune fan, I get where they're going with it, but as a game fan, Spies, on the other hand, are totally fascinating. They're deployed through a variety of means to little watchtower spots connected with multiple worker placement locations, allowing you to recall them upon future worker placement to cohabitate with another agent or draw a card. They're a nice bit of utility that subtly addresses one of the challenges of the original game, where you might find yourself with not a lot of options, either because the cards in your hand, blocking, or both. And that's where Uprising shines, the subtle polish that makes it feel more cohesive. Everything feels familiar, but the balance feels better. Language is more consistent, more locations give you a choice in rewards, there are fewer dead spaces, and more to consider when taking your turn. Unlocking your third agent? Still great, but doing so makes it cheaper for everyone else to do the same. Already placed your High Council seat? Well, in Uprising, you can continue to go to that spot for rewards. And this is underscored by the Chome Advanced mode, which I'd never consider playing without, that just lightly rewards players for going to contracted locations, adding subtle motivation to deviate from otherwise optimum play. 2 other really subtle but welcome buffs come in the streamlining of the AI opponent for 1 and 2 player games with its own dedicated priority cards for varied but more fluid function, and new objective cards dealt out during setup, which along with the new conflict cards have 3 matching symbol types that can be paired up for an extra point, piquing interest in a conflict you might not otherwise have had your eyes on, and allowing for a more creative or situational environment for the conflict rewards. None of these changes feel monumental, but the impact of these little flourishes is that instead of finding yourself choosing the least among bad options, more often you're puzzling out the best among good. That said, for as much as I think pound for pound this is the better box, I can't help but wonder at its necessity. It doesn't seamlessly integrate with the original game, it only kind of integrates with the expansions. The new stuff doesn't feel so substantial that justifies owning both, and from the same big dumb floppy rulebook and lack of meaningful insert to the failure to address a stale card market in-game, it doesn't really show lessons learned. And on top of that, there's a lack of commitment. Sure, this one plays up to 6 players, but 2 of those would be playing with cardboard agents when all the rest of their components would be wood. Never mind that you get both plastic and wooden sandworms, the former of which could have been cut to give a full outfit of agents. And even still, it would have been nice if the complete sets they did include were distinct colors, so the people who are inevitably going to get both Dune Imperiums would at least feel good about having color options. But no, same 4 colors in completion and a hampered new set of 2 cool colored variants. As I said at the beginning, Dune Imperium is a very good game that rightly deserves the accolades that have been heaped upon it, and undoubtedly Dune Imperium Uprising is the better of the 2 boxes, being both more rich in its complexity than the original Dune Imperium, while not nearly as complicated as Dune Imperium plus the 2 expansions that followed. But by releasing this so close in proximity to the original and its expansions, the waters have been muddied, and somehow the whole Dune Imperium line has become a little bit more muddled in my mind. And this may be a me problem, but I don't think I'll be the only one. Dune Imperium is absolutely worth playing. It's a design and theme I love. If you don't have either, I absolutely recommend Uprising, though it's going to be a tougher call if you already own the original. As for me, well, I only have room in my life for 1 Dune Imperium, and I'm kind of a clean slate and elegance type of guy, so if I look to the golden path, I feel that the original is going to have to take the fall. And that's our review. But let me know, what do you think of this whole Uprising Imperium situation? Do you have the original? Do you intend to get the new one? Do you intend to replace your set, or just combine it all, or, alternate between the 2? Put it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an awesome community. You know that I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.